It's amazing how history can repeat itself, right? How things are predestined, how situations just occur based on past events. What I'm getting at is about 20 years ago, LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony met in high school and played against each other. St. Vincent St. Mary versus Oak Hill. Oak Hill is known to be a basketball factory, and LeBron just happened to put St. Vincent St. Mary on the map because he's LeBron James and it's in Akron. 20 years later, we have their offspring that went against each other last night. Bronny James and Kiyan Anthony. They played last night. That I just find that very remarkable. Bronny plays with Sierra Kiyan, and they end up defeating Kiyan's team, Christ the King, 62-51. Bronny had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Kiyan had 10 points. Majority of that came from behind the arc. Bronny had a pretty sweet dunk that went a little viral on social media. You can probably find that. But nevertheless, I'm pretty sure that was a special moment for LeBron and Carmelo for their kids to play against each other 20 years later. Like, man, that's remarkable, and also, lets you know how fast time flies in life. Man. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I can't wait to see them on the next level for sure. So, I guess pivoting to the NFL, Week 14, is in the books. Do a quick recap here because, man, things are starting to heat up. Division races, playoff hopes. It all matters. Each game matters. We're going to pivot back to Thursday to where I went to sleep. I went to sleep at halftime because I knew the Raiders were going to win this game. I just knew the Raiders were going to beat the Rams. I wake up and apparently Baker Mayfield happened on the last drive of the game. Rams end up winning 17-16. Baker Mayfield completed a 98-yard drive at the end of the game. In my opinion, probably helped save his career on that moment. He had just been with the team, not even 48 hours. Comes in and, does his thing. Rams are 4-9. Raiders, that was on a 3-game winning streak at the time, falls to 5-8 and really cripples any playoff chances with that loss there. So then Sunday, Bills, Jets. This here was a pretty tight game. Bills did squeak it out 20-12. They're 10-3 on the year. You know what? Shout out to Mike White. Mike White was knocked out of this game twice, still comes back in to try to save the day, even though they end up falling short. But that's a lot of toughness. And he still had the ability to throw for 268 yards in the air after getting knocked out twice. So yeah, shout out to Mike White. Jets fall to 7-6. They're still in the playoff hunt. Bengals, Browns. This is the first time that Joe Burrow has beaten the Browns in his career. They end up winning 23-10. Bengals are 9-4. And somehow, some way, without T. Higgins, who I think he was pulled at the last second. Tyler Boyd, who got knocked out of this game. It was a Jamar Chase show. 10 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. And if you've seen the touchdown pass, I don't even know how the ball got through there. I think Jamar Chase was surprised as well. But man, This Bengals team is going to be dangerous once again. Browns fall to 5-8. Deshaun Watson, I guess so far, the best game of his Browns career. 276 in the air, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 6 carries for 33 yards as well. Now, with this battle of Texas here, if anybody that picked the Cowboys to cover that basically 17-point spread, you learned quick and early in the game that was not happening. Because it took Dallas to score a last-second touchdown here to win the game. They ended up winning 27-23 against the Houston Texans. That I'm pretty sure they took them for granted, and that's how they ended up in this predicament to begin with. But, nevertheless, a win is a win, right? Dak threw for 284, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard each scored a touchdown on the ground. Boy, oh boy. Lions, Vikings. The Lions were favored in this game. And you see why. They ended up winning 34-23 over the Minnesota Vikings. Lions are very much well in the playoff race here, 6-7 on the year. The Minnesota Vikings, who nobody really respects as a 10-3 team as much, because all their games has been squeaked out. And they still don't respect these guys, but nevertheless, they probably win the division next week. But 10-3 is 10-3. What can you say? Moving along. Jags, Titans. Everybody expected the Titans to win. It didn't go that way. Jags came in the Nashville, ends up winning 36-22. Trevor Lawrence had himself a game. This man threw for 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Evan Ingram, the tight end, 11 catches, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So I tell you what, whoever started Evan Ingram on either their fantasy team or daily fantasy in DFS, oh yeah, you definitely won. Definitely won. You want to know how good this Eagles team is? I consider the Giants a competent, solid team. And the Eagles put up 48 points in MetLife Stadium. They went to New York and put up 48 points on the road. That's how good this Eagles team is. And at this point, Jalen Hurts is probably my MVP right now. Jalen Hurts, 217 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also has 77 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts has 22 TDs on the season. He only has 3 picks. He only threw 3 picks the whole year. The whole year. And this team only had 1 loss. And the best argument you can make for Jalen Hurts, he has not had a bad game all year. He's been consistent. Consistent. 3 picks the total year. Patrick Mahomes just threw 3 picks on Sunday. And I had Patty Mahomes leading the way for the most part for MVP. But I can't ignore what Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. I can't. Now, this might be Jalen's season. I'm okay with that. Right back to the game. Miles Sanders, 144 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. See, they actually chose to run the ball this year. Miles Sanders, I don't know, for whatever reason, the last couple of years, they didn't even really run the ball. And it made the Eagles one-dimensional. Now they're running the ball. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they balling lights out. They both scored a touchdown. It's wonderful. Wonderful times to be an Eagles fan, I suppose. Giants fall to 7-5-1. Ravens, Steelers, rivalry game. So the Ravens end up winning 16-14. But I felt like this game would have been a little bit more interesting had Kenny Pickett not get knocked out the game with a concussion. and Mitchell Trubisky coming in throwing 3 picks. At Kenny Pickett, I got hurt. I think the Steelers probably would have pulled this one out. But nevertheless, Tyler Huntley left the game with an injury. J.K. Dobbins returned with 120 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Ravens are 9-4. Steelers are 5-8. Chiefs, Broncos, final score was 34-28. Chiefs was up 27-0 in the first half. So that lets you know how this is basically a tale of 2 games. So yeah, Patty Mahomes, like I mentioned, he threw 3 picks, but he also threw 3 touchdowns and 352 yards, including a very Patty Mahomes-like insane shovel pass to Jerick McKinnon for a touchdown, who actually scored 2 touchdowns, by the way, with 7 catches and 112 yards. Your leading receiver is the running back. Russell Wilson, he played the best game of his Broncos career. 247, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. But unfortunately for him, he got knocked out of the game with a concussion. He also had 57 yards on the ground. Jerry Jeudy probably had the best game of his career. 8 catches, 73 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So yeah, even though the Chiefs, went up 27-0, Broncos had some heart in them, had some kickback, some fight. They just didn't have enough. Probably started off too slow, but nevertheless, Chiefs are 10-3. The Broncos are 3-10, officially eliminated from playoffs. The Buccaneers. Yes, they're still on top of their division with a 6-7 record now, but the writing is on the wall, as in we pretty much see this team as a one and done. And I've been saying it for weeks. Their ceiling is capped. Why? Because their O-line stinks. You have a 45-year-old quarterback. If something happens to that O-line, he's a sitting duck. You can't run the ball like you used to. You can't defend like you used to. Tight ends doesn't score touchdowns like they used to. It's just all bad. It was all bad to the point to where Mr. Irrelevant, which is known as the last pick of the NFL draft, and this is the first time ever that the last pick of an NFL draft starts an NFL game. It just happened to be Brock Purdy. And the way that he played Sunday, I think he's pretty good. Yeah. So the Niners ended up winning 35-7. It was 28-0 at halftime. It was bad. Tom Brady, 253 in the air, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Brock Purdy, 16-21 for 185, 2 TDs, no picks. He also had a rushing touchdown as well. Now, Purdy did get hurt in this game a little bit. I think he's day-to-day. Deebo Samuel went down with an injury where, a lot of people thought it was really significant, like a season ender, which for their sake and for a lot of people's sake did not happen that way. It's an MCL sprain in the knee. It's an ankle injury as well. Basically, they hope for him to come back before the end of the regular season. So he'll be back at some point here soon. Christian McCaffrey, my gosh, 119 yards on the ground and a touchdown. He also caught 2 passes for 34 yards and a touchdown. The Niners are 9-4. Bucks, like I said, 6-7. And last thing I would say about the 49ers. So on Saturday on the Early Morning Sports podcast, I was saying it's not an overreaction to think that the Niners will still be okay. The Niners are going to be okay because the sum of the parts around Brock Purdy are elite. And all he has to do is be Jimmy G-esque. And I feel like he's actually might end up playing better than what Jimmy G was for them. So Niners going to be okay. Do not write them off. Panthers, Seahawks, Carolina, hashtag keep pounding, went into the 12th man and beat them 30-24. Panthers are 5-8 and they're still pretty much alive in the NFC South. Sam Darnold came back. He gave you, 120 yards in the air and a touchdown. Good old Sam Darnold-esque. It was the Panthers defense, though, that kept them in the game. Geno threw 2 picks, but he also threw 3 touchdowns, 264 yards in the air. Goodwin, Metcalf, and Lockett all scored touchdowns. Dolphins and Chargers. So the discussion between these teams, because they are linked because of the quarterbacks. Because Tua went 5th in the draft a couple years ago to the Dolphins. And I think Justin Herbert was the pick after to the Chargers. And so I guess the question is, or was, would you rather have Tua or Justin Herbert? Even though Justin Herbert, a lot of people called him the next Dan Marino because of his talent. And, rightfully so, talent based, but he hasn't really won in the NFL. I think, before entering the year, he's never had a winning record. Tua, on the other hand, they question the talent and the physical attributes and stuff. But for the most part, Tua's had a sensational season to the point where he probably going to get a bag. But the last 2 games, including this one, hasn't been the greatest. Tua was 10 of 28 passing, which is unlike him because he's been very accurate this year. He only threw for 145 yards. The Dolphins' offense looked anemic. And the question is, has the league actually figured out Mike McDaniel's offense? If so, the Dolphins are in trouble. I don't think that's the case yet. But Tua needs to adjust and keep it moving for whatever the defenses are trying to do to him now. He has to adjust. If the Dolphins going to go anywhere, because Dolphins are a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams in the playoffs. So for the Dolphins to actually secure a playoff spot and actually, live up to the ceiling that I think they have, Tua and Mike McDaniel's got to make some adjustments. That's all I'm going to say. Dolphins end up losing this game 17-23. Justin Herbert had himself a game. 39 of 51 passing, 367 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. Chargers are 7-6. Dolphins are 8-5. And then last night's game, early on, we saw Kyler Murray get hurt with a non-contact injury. Initially, they thought it was an ACL. Now, the speculation is it doesn't seem it's going to be that. But still not officially sure what it is and how long he'll be out. But with that, it changed the dynamic of the game. The Patriots end up winning 27-13. Mac Jones was lackluster. 235 yards, cool, but no picks. No TDs and a pick. So, gotta love that, right? Colt McCoy, 246 in the air, no touchdowns in the pick as well. They're kind of like best friends on that one. But yeah, New England is 7-9. The Cards are 4-9. The Patriots are 7-6. The Cards are 4-9. So yeah, that's definitely your Week 14 recap of games. As far as the playoffs here, because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So the playoffs started today. In the AFC, the Bills are the number 1 seed. Chiefs are the 2. Both of them are 10-3, but Bills have the head-to-head win. Baltimore is 3rd. Cincinnati's 4th. Then you got Miami 5th, Tennessee 6th, and New England 7. That would be your top 7 teams. Tennessee would technically be a 4 seed since they're a division winner at this moment, per se. But nevertheless, that's your top 7 teams right now in AFC. And you still, with New England being 7-6, the Chargers, the Jets have the same record as well as the Patriots. So a lot of tiebreakers there. And then you still got the Jags, the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Colts technically still in it at this moment, but they need a lot of help. A lot of help. So if we're going to the NFC, the Eagles are the first team to clinch a playoff spot at 12-1. By far the number 1 seed here. Minnesota and Dallas are both 10-3. Even though Dallas beat the brakes off the Vikings early this year, Minnesota would be a division winner, so Dallas would actually be a 5th seed right now. Niners are 9-4. The Commanders are 7-5-1. So are the Giants. Seahawks are 7-6. Tampa Bay is 6-7. So technically right now the Giants, even though has a better record than the Bucs, but the Bucs are technically a division winner at this moment. So the Bucs will have the 4th seed, end up playing Dallas right now. The Giants would be the first team out of the playoffs at this moment. No, sorry, the Seahawks would. So your top 7 teams are Philly, Minnesota, Dallas, 49ers, Commanders, Giants, and Bucs. So Seahawks are a half game back. Then you still got the Lions in contention at 6-7. And then technically speaking, the Packers, Panthers, Falcons, Cardinals, Saints, and Rams are technically still alive. And my good old Chicago Bears have been eliminated already, but that's okay. We're going to have a pretty good draft pick in all season. So yeah, there you go. That will do it here. So continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio and the No Offense Network. Check out me on social media at JGoodWithSports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thursday, we get into some more sports activity. Pretty sure we're previewing Thursday's game. And maybe a couple games on Saturday. Because I think we have some NFL games this Saturday as well. As we get closer to the holidays, closer to the end of the year, you all enjoy. Be safe out here. And I'll get with you next time. Peace.